Hey guys, welcome back to the 1000 Lions Gaming Podcast. I'm Bubba, and I'm here with Caleb from Contender eSports, and we're going to be talking today a little bit about kind of his business model and how he interacts and gets people into his business, and also we're going to talk about the overall ecosystem of gaming and what that means for the future generations and the future of the gaming industry.
Welcome to the 1000 Lions podcast, meeting at the intersection of gaming, life and memes, featuring Bubba of the Zoo, Johnny 1000 and Kirkestein.
So Caleb, thanks for coming back. I know that you've already talked and kind of introduced your business, Contender eSports in Cary, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about how do you convince people? So, you have a facility, you have computers, you have Xboxes, PlayStation, Switches, you have all these things. How do you convince kids that likely have these gaming setups at home to come in and pay you to play these games at your facility? Like, what does that look like?
Well, that's something we noticed just a couple months in business, and I realized that people needed a reason to actually come out and play games. It's like, okay, I have my system at home, so why would I go and pay you to play there? And like occasionally somebody will be like, oh, I just want to get out of the house. Well, I mean, I can't make a business model off of somebody wanting to get out of the house. Sometimes parents would drop their kids off, and they would go to one of the restaurants nearby. Well, they're not the market for the restaurant, or to make sure that parents are going there with their kids. And so the way we actually do that is, what reasons people come? Birthday parties, tournaments, getting coached and trained, so workshops, teams, camps, all those. And that was the thing, when we first opened, parents like, oh, y'all have tryout camps, y'all for birthday parties. And so we realized it's about offering that. And within these that we do, yes, they come and play games. It's with the coach. They get instructional coaching throughout. And, we work on the healthy gaming habits, the character and life skills building, because we all know, especially, with the whole Zoom that happened, where everyone's working from home, sitting down all day, not eating, not really getting up, is not very healthy for you. And, a lot of people, especially gamers, when they actually move their hands pretty fast, can get hand, wrist, forearm injuries. Like carpal tunnel is pretty popular. And we've had people they've been obviously older in their 20s and 30s, playing games randomly just scream about because, they got a cramp in their forearm. So our goal is to teach the kids, take the breaks, drink water, showing the hand stretches they need to do to keep their bodies healthy. It's just like in a traditional sport. I mean, two people train, one person does the proper recovery, that person stays healthy, the other person gets injured.
So, going back just a little bit, so what are some obstacles that you had? Because I mean, when I was a kid, one of the things that you were always like, you can't make it. You go to play games, and your mom's like, pause that game. You're like, I can't pause it, Mom. And you get in this big argument, and then he's like, well, there's never going to be a job in gaming, and that's getting to be less and less true. What are some obstacles that, do you have any memorable conversations with parents or with other business owners as you start to say, hey, we're trying to get kids in here to play video games? Like what does that look like?
Well, yeah, so obviously COVID was an obstacle, but besides that, I honestly don't think that was the biggest hurdle. I really think it was the offerings, because we didn't move into the workshops and teams camps model until after the New Year's, when we really started pushing that. And the main thing about it is that the parents simply just don't know. And it's like anything else. I mean, if you don't know, if you aren't educated about it, they don't know that people are making millions. It's like, yeah, my child's watching people play video games. They don't realize that YouTube was making $3 million a year. I mean, they aren't aware. I tell some parents, oh yeah, this person made X amount of money playing. Like, really? People can make us. Yeah, you can go pro at 13. You can get a college scholarship. And what we really realized was, which I knew this before opening, that we were in the business of educating parents. And because you yourself know, but the majority of parents don't know. Now that the parents, in their early 30s starting to have kids, they know, but a lot of people didn't know. And so when the parents, they just don't know, wow, this is wild. And we show the whole esports career path. My dad personally, he grew up playing the Pac-Man and Space Invaders, those type of games, and that led him to major in computer science at the Naval Academy, because he wanted to learn, about how these games, were made. Awesome. And the coding aspects of it. And so when parents realize that, a lot of these people that are getting into IT and coding, that they're actually taking interest in gaming. And now that there's a whole competitive scene and there's a player aspect, there's also work in the industry. These teams, they have travel agents, they have photographers, they have, cameramen, and the amount of people, it's a live event venue that they're at. So the people working those events, they have administrative, they have finance, they have, accounting, legal. And so all those aspects, it's just a normal industry. Everything that you have, it'll be incorporated, but the thing is they get to work in an industry that they're more passionate about.
I think it's crazy. It's really interesting the way that the gaming ecosystem is kind of evolving, and it kind of moves right into the next topic that I wanted to get into, which is just the nature of gaming has changed so much in the last 5 years, the last 10 years, the last 15 years. Again, I remember when I was a kid, the idea that you could have a career in gaming, there was one option. I was going to be a developer, like actually making games. Right, that was it. Maybe 10 years ago you had some pro teams. You might have had a Call of Duty or Halo pro teams, something along those lines. But like now, I think about you have a career in gaming, right? Like is that fair to say?
Correct.
You have a career in gaming. You're not a pro gamer. You're not a pro gamer, but you have played on a quasi pro team, maybe.
Sorta. Yeah, I played with
Caleb's a FIFA pro, played in a pro FIFA tournament last year. Yeah. Kind of a big deal.
Got destroyed, but
it's neither here nor there. You played in the tournament. Okay, you were there.
That's right. Yeah.
If there were jerseys issued, your name was on it. That's all that matters. Correct. But you're not a pro gamer and you're not a game developer. But you have a career in gaming, and I've started to see a lot of things that are popping up. I was part of a website called Crouch Jump, which is it's almost like a Facebook version of like a gaming community. Right now there's an app called Hover that's out there where you have a group of developers and people that are trying to build communities. It's like a TikTok for gaming clips. And then there's Athena-scope. Have you seen Athena-scope?
I haven't.
There are a lot of things. There's like Athena-scope and there's a Stepladder. There are a lot of websites that are clearly developed around gamers, where Athena-scope, what you do is you essentially put in your Twitch username, and it will go through and scrub your VODs and look for highlights. It automatically pulls clips, so you don't have to go back and watch and re-clip all of your things. It does it automatically.
I need to get a look into that.
It's incredible. There's an app called Stepladder that takes. Have you ever posted on TikTok?
I haven't.
So the biggest problem on TikTok is everything's supposed to be vertical, okay, but everything you record is horizontal. So Stepladder goes through and it takes your face cam and puts it at the top of the screen, and then puts it allows you to figure out what's. It's crazy. All of there's a booming ecosystem of people that aren't creating games, and they're also not playing games. You have whole new careers that are being built out of gaming. What do you think's next? So you have this stuff. You mentioned finance. You mentioned production. We talked about content creation, where making YouTube videos, podcasts. The 1000 Lions Gaming Podcast, available on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere else that you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe. But this stuff is they're everywhere at this point. But what else do you think is out there?
Well, it's pretty much like how every other industry is, like Airbnb. A lot of people don't know that a company actually attempted that a couple years before Airbnb, and they failed. And that the reason why Airbnb was the most successful was because it was around the 2008 housing bubble, and then all these realtors and people that were looking for ways to make money off the homes, because nobody wanted to buy them. And so that's one thing that really did boost and help them. But within anything, especially in the tech world, there's always going to be, the next new thing. And then it's, 99% of the companies fail that, come out there. And then some are, really good. For instance, we have Facebook, which is phenomenal. And then, but there's also, 30 other companies that attempted something like that, we don't even know about.
R.I.P. MySpace.
Yeah, something like that. I never used that. It was before my time. But it's essentially it's a business. They have this, VC funding, and, it's deceiving because when you get $30 million funding and you're living in penthouse suites, and all of a sudden you hear one day, a company goes under. It's like Discord, is one that has done phenomenal, has been very successful, and that, I'm sure there have been plenty of other apps like that people have attempted to make, and they've just gone bust. And so, really, and I mentioned the whole finance, accounting, legal, when somebody understands, is more passionate about something, they're better suited, for you. Because, for instance, like our bookkeeper, like we had switched new ones going to the new year, and she's phenomenal. She goes through, she writes down the numbers, she finds ways that we can save money. She's like, oh, you can better, spend money here. Her son actually comes and participates, in one of our programs. And the thing is, she's a mom, a parent, a customer, and she understands it from, that viewpoint. And obviously, if you're, in real estate, if your accountant and attorney and, admin, whoever else, like, have a background history in real estate and understand that, you're more likely to be successful. Because one person, no matter how smart you are, you're going to miss stuff. You're not going to recognize, you're not going to think of certain things. You have to have, that proper team around you. So that even within esports and gaming, I know there was a story of one company. Now I'm trying to remember what the company was. The janitor saved them thousands of dollars a year because he had told them, he said, well, y'all have all these machines that are working, no people in. He says, you only need the lights on when there are people in here. And they literally just had the lights on all day when there was just machines there working. And they said they saved thousands of dollars. They didn't have to lay anybody off, or they had to come up with a new strategic plan. They were able to save $1,000. And as a janitor, who would think that, a janitor would be the person saving the company $1,000? But, he was.
How do you get to a spot like how do kids receive? So I'm guessing kids come in and you start talking about careers. So like, that's cool, man. I want to play games. Like, have you had any specific interactions with like kids where like they're like after hearing about like other options or like the things that were like the kid seems to really like be interested in like next steps or in other stuff, or is it mostly like I know you're fairly new to it. Are you still just kind of like introducing the ideas and kind of hoping that seeds take root later?
Well, we are introducing ideas, and one thing we do, games like Minecraft and Roblox, you can teach coding and video game design through those games. So we use that to show them it. And then also we're planning within workshops and camps because right now they're all game based, but then they're off PC building, coding, and other like maybe IT, show different teaching, streaming, show different things that involve in the esports or in gaming industry, all industries, video editing, which is a cross industry skill that someone can learn. And it's really about getting them in it, getting the passion and love for it. Because, the majority of people that are, major in sports management and that work for sports teams were athletes themselves and like and enjoy sports. And so it's about taking that, we talk about the character and life skills, but because obviously kids like 7, 8 years old, they're not thinking about their career at that time. But, when kids are more so about 8th grade going into high school, that's when the parents are really thinking. Also, we're offering internships as well to teach them, working in the industry, other skills that actually happen. So we're bringing it out there and offering it to them. This is about the different steps. You got to get them hooked on the first thing. It's like, when I was 5 years old, started playing soccer. My parents, when I was like 3, they were like, you're getting a college scholarship. But most parents aren't like that. They just put their kids in it for the fun of it. And then, they see, where it takes them. So, and that's essentially what we're looking at. The main thing is get them to have fun, get them to try and test different things out and to see, what do they want to move forward with in life.
So, how many kids each week come in and talk to you about wanting to join FaZe Clan or talk to you about wanting to join 100 people? Like, do you have any kids that are like, man, I want to like what I want to do right now is be part of the gaming org?
So, honestly, not really. Everyone wants to be, a pro gamer, just like in sports. Everyone wants to be a pro athlete, and then at some point they learn that's not realistic. So far, we've had 2 people come through that actually were 100% serious, willing to put the work, dedicate the time, energy that it took to, become a pro gamer. And, other ones, it's like more so of a fantasy type of thing. I'm like, okay, do you fantasize about it? Do you actually legit want to be a pro? Because, like, yeah, I want to be a pro gamer. Like, I fantasize about it and stuff, but I know for a fact it's never going to happen. And so, really with that, they have to understand what it's like and what it truly takes. Like, the last episode mentioned that I played, pro soccer over in Germany. Well, okay, yeah, I was not making Cristiano Ronaldo money. And that's what a lot of people need to understand. And that a lot of times you have to stream or coach on the side of me. I know for the local soccer team, KFC, when I was growing up and they had some of the lowest salaries in the leagues, people were making like $15,000, $20,000 a year, they had to coach on the side and do other things, to generate enough income to actually live off of. And so a lot of gamers don't realize that. It's like, yeah, you have to play and you have to stream, and then a lot of teams, their contract is actually paid for by a sponsor. But then if you're, $800 a month is paid for by a sponsor, well, you're working, 5-10 hours a week for that sponsor as well. So they're pretty much paying you for work, and on top of that, you're playing in a game, and then you have to go do streaming and content creation and all that, and professional careers in anything like any entertainment, like music or gaming, sports. Careers are short, like 2 years. 4 or 5 years is a long career, and that very few people get to that 10-year mark.
Absolutely. So I know right now, it seems like there's like a lot of interest, or maybe not interest, but there seems to be a lot of news and rumblings around getting signed, and like the idea of these eSport organizations or these gaming orgs with the valuation of 100 Thieves came out not too long ago, and it's like, man, that's crazy. And you obviously have FaZe, and you have Luminosity. You've got a lot of these bigger things. Do you notice on a local level, is there anybody that ever comes up and you're like, I want to start a gaming org, or I want do they come to you looking for talent, or what does that look like?
Oh yeah, so absolutely. Everyone they looks cool and they all want to start orgs. And what we've noticed with most people starting orgs is they see the industry, they see it's booming, the money that's being generated. And here's one thing I like to say: the players that make money play for the teams that lose money in tournaments. First of all, the players play games, which the gaming companies make money as well, and then the tournament organizers lose money. The gaming companies that do it, like Riot and Epic, do it as a marketing tactic, and and it's consumed by fans. And so a lot of people do come to me because they're just investors. They're looking, when you're an investor, it's like you go around, you invest in stock market and different hedge funds or VCs, whatever it might be, because you're looking, return on your money. And so a lot of them, when they come to me, I'm like, well, do you know how much money they lose and all, this stuff? And most of them don't. And that's actually, pretty much that's, a trap that a lot of people are getting into. And when most of these teams start, they're just they realize oh shoot, we're losing money on this. I have a friend, he does apparel. They did it for football and lacrosse, and they started doing esports. They started a team. They just did it, the team, for the fun of it. They knew they were going to lose money off the team, and they've actually done apparel for us, and I've connected them with 2 other orgs that have been looking for apparel. So that's their business, is the apparel. And a lot of times, what we're seeing a common trend, Cloud9 now getting into coaching, I really think that they're looking now to other things, as in other industries, as income streams, because they realize the team, they may or may not work out, especially when, the NFL, their goal is to make money.
Yeah.
The Epic Games, Riot, all those, Ubisoft, their goal is to make money, but they make their money through skins, not through, TV rights and sponsorships for their league.
Oh, yeah. And you notice that, really, Fortnite in particular, you had a lot of eSport, a lot of the gaming orgs, they pulled out of Fortnite real quick.
It makes zero sense. I was wondering why people would ever do it. I'm like, what benefit does it serve? I'm like, and the thing is, too, about, sponsorships and prize money is, huge. And the thing is, if you have a team and, it just say you have a 50% goes to players, 50% comes to the org. And then the players realize, oh wait, well, we won $10,000, but they got $5,000 in that. And he's only paying us, $1,000 each. And say it's Rocket League, they're like, we could be making more if we weren't part of this org. And so unless you're getting them sponsorship or something else in that, so then that's the real challenging part. And what a lot of people don't know is that, do you know what the number one income stream is for professional sports leagues like NFL, NBA?
I'm guessing TV rights.
Yeah, that's right. Most people think it's sponsorships, but people don't know it's actually TV rights. And so, and plus too, tickets and merchandise as well, and concessions are a huge thing. I know, I went to the PNC Arena, they were saying that during the time they were making $50,000 on a Saturday night. Pre-COVID, that's just off concession. It was $250,000 that they would be making. And so, esports, well, if you only have 300 people go to watch a competition, you're only going to make a couple $1,000, and you have to pay for the event. So it's all this stuff. There's no TV rights. And Riot's going to put it out there for free to watch. Why? Because they want people consuming it, because they want people buying the skins. They're not going to make people pay to watch it, because if you have to pay to watch it, then that means less people might be playing, which means less people might be making purchases in game.
So what's the secret? So what's the secret sauce of like how does a phase make money? I mean, because you have phase, you have 100 Thieves. Congarna is a smaller one that seems to be growing. Luminosity seems to be doing so. There are some that seem to have like figured it out. Like what do you think those ones are doing that the other ones are? Like, is it just because they're starting with more capital, or is it just
give me 100 mil, I'll do the same thing. I mean, it doesn't take that much skill. Like, I was listening to something by Gary Vee once. I said, it doesn't take that much skill to lose $4 million a year. Like, no, anybody can really do that. And so, like, you see these team houses and things like that. Now, one thing I actually was thinking, we were talking, was that all these teams, most of them are based in like New York, California. Like this area is getting more expensive. It's still dirt cheap compared to those areas. And so we were saying, well, if you start a team here, you can pay the players, 20% less, put them in a house the same size or larger for, 30-40% less. And, even though they're making, like a guy said, he got offered a job over in California. So he's like LA for 100,000. He's like, that's like 30,000 here. Why would I go and do that? Well, they come here and you could pay them, 80,000. It's a $20,000 pay cut, but great. That's a good amount of money here, as opposed to like 100,000 is nothing over in LA.
You have $80,000, but you get to live in a house.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. And so the main thing is, looking for areas, and that are better, and not like everybody. It's this whole thing of looking cool now, not necessarily of making money. And so you have to, when you start, you have to start it from we're doing this to make money standpoint, and looking at all avenues in terms of sponsorship and tournament organizing, anything like that. And if you can be like a Cloud9, like if you can create something like IMG, but for esports and gaming, that can be an excellent way to help fund, the esports order that's going on until it's figured out, whether it's 5, 10, 20, or however, who knows how long, years from now.
Whenever the timing's right for the next Facebook to come up, right?
Correct.
Like the Facebook of gaming works.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But, all right. Well, Caleb, thank you very much. That's going to be it for the 1000 Lions Gaming Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you go check out Contender eSports on all of their socials. You're on Instagram, Twitter,
everything. Contender carries everything. ContenderCary.com is the website.
All right. Don't forget to like the video or like the podcast. Go ahead and subscribe. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. See you later.